Most men chase too hard, talk too much, and give too easily. Then they sit around wondering why she doesn't miss them. Here's the truth. A woman misses what she can't fully have. She doesn't miss availability. She misses presence followed by distance. She misses the emotional roller coaster, not comfort on demand. If you're always there, always replying, always trying, there's nothing to miss. You've already handed her everything on a plate. In today's dating world, men are getting played because they're acting like women, emotional, reactive, and desperate for attention. That kills mystery, kills desire, and kills any chance of being missed. But the men who flip the script, who stop doing the average things most guys do, those are the men who live in her head rent-free. You want her wondering what you're doing. You want her checking her phone. You want her thinking about you at night. That doesn't happen because you said the right words or bought her dinner. That happens because you understood how to trigger emotional absence, emotional uncertainty, and emotional impact. This video will break down 10 solid tactics that actually make a woman miss you. Deeply, mentally, emotionally, physically. This isn't theory. These are moves that work in the modern world. Social media, dating apps, long distance, situationships. Real tools for real results. No games, just strategy. If you've ever found yourself saying, "She doesn't value me," "She pulled away," or "She moved on too fast," then this right here is what you needed. Pay attention. Use it. Don't just want her to miss you. Make her miss you. 1. Disappear after a high point. If you want a woman to miss you, the worst thing you can do is stay available right after giving her an amazing experience. Most men get it backward. They think after a great date, deep conversation, or passionate moment, they should keep the momentum going. They keep texting, calling, and showing up like clockwork. That's not power, that's neediness. A woman's emotional attachment grows in the space where she has to wonder, replay memories, and ask questions she has no answer to. You don't create space when you're always there. You create it when you vanish while her emotions are still high. Let her feel the emotional high, then pull away. That contrast hits hard. If you stay too long, the high fades. If you leave too early, it feels fake. But if you disappear right when she's starting to attach, she'll chase the feeling. She'll want more. She'll start replaying the way you looked at her, the way you touched her, the way you made her feel. And every hour you're silent, every day you're distant. You're building value in her mind. This isn't about punishing her or ghosting her. It's about controlling your presence. Make her realize that access to you is not permanent. You don't need to announce your absence. You don't need to explain. Just fade into your world. Focus on your grind, your goals, your space. Let her mind wander into your silence. Women aren't built to forget what impacted them emotionally. And the most emotional moment is the one followed by your absence. She will think about why you're not calling. She'll stalk your stories. She'll read your last text like scripture. If you stay calm, stay quiet, and stay gone long enough, she will break the silence first. That's when you'll know you've made her miss you. 2. Control the last message. If she always gets the last word, she feels like she's in charge. She feels like she's leading the connection. But when you take that power, calmly, not emotionally, you shift everything. Ending conversations first, disappearing mid-curiosity, or simply not replying to something that doesn't require a response. These are quiet power moves that hit deep. A woman doesn't miss what's predictable. She misses what left her hanging. She misses what interrupted her rhythm. The man who always makes sure she has closure is the man who never stays in her mind long. But the one who cuts the flow when it feels like there's more to say, that's the man she thinks about all night. It's not about being rude. It's not about being dry. It's about knowing how to stop pouring when the cup is full. If she sends a message, and you've already said what needed to be said, you don't always have to reply. If the convo is going in circles, close it with a short line and don't return. Let her feel the silence. Let her wonder if she said too much. Let her analyze why you're not as reactive as most men. That pause you give her is a hook in her mind. The trick is to stay emotionally in control. Never ghost out of anger, never stop replying to punish her. That's not what this is. This is discipline. It's knowing that your time, energy, and words are valuable. And if you treat them like gold, so will she. You have to become a man who doesn't overinvest. A man who walks away when the message is sent, not when it's received. That's a quiet kind of confidence that creates tension. And tension is what makes her miss you. Women thrive off emotional loops. If the loop is always closed, she feels safe, content, and in control. If the loop is left open, she keeps spinning it in her head. What did he mean? Is he busy? Is he done with me? Why didn't he reply? That inner chaos is not cruelty, it's attraction. You're giving her something to reach for, something to chase, something to miss. And here's where most men mess it up. She texts something random and they think silence is disrespect. No, silence is power when used wisely. You don't need to leave her unread forever. But not replying instantly or not needing to end every chat with a heart or a laugh, that subtle pullback can shift the whole balance. If she's thinking about why you didn't reply, she's thinking about you. That's the point. 3. Give her emotional highs, then vanish. If you really want to live in a woman's head, don't just be the guy who disappears. Be the guy who moves her emotionally, then disappears. Most men who pull away too soon are easy to forget because they never made a lasting impression. But the man who made her laugh, made her vulnerable, made her feel something deep, that's the one she thinks about when things go quiet. It's not enough to just be gone. You have to be unforgettable before you go. What does that look like? It means being present when you're around her, fully there, not half scrolling your phone, not talking like a robot. Give her a feeling she doesn't get from anyone else. Maybe you looked her in the eyes a second longer than most guys do. Maybe you said something that struck her soul. Maybe you held her without saying a word and she felt safe. Whatever it is, you drop something into her emotional system that lingers. Then you vanish. The disappearing act only works when she has something to miss. And women don't miss logic. They miss feelings. They don't sit around missing your good grammar or your job title. They miss the fire, the tension, the mystery, the security, the feeling of, I don't know what this is, but I want more. That's what sticks. And the moment you walk away after that, it creates emotional hunger. It's the contrast that keeps her restless. The average guy wants to be liked, so he keeps giving, over-communicating, overstaying, trying to force a connection with volume. You don't do that. You connect with impact, then leave space. The emotional high becomes the bait. She starts craving it again. She'll replay your voice, your laugh, that moment you brushed her arm, that thing you whispered when no one else could hear. Now she's emotionally invested and you're gone. That gap becomes pressure. That pressure becomes desire. That desire becomes obsession. And this isn't about manipulation. This is about being intentional. You're not walking in and out to play games. You're creating waves that stick. You're showing her that when you're present, you're unforgettable. And when you're absent, you're irreplaceable. Women live in their emotions. They make decisions based on what they feel. So make her feel everything, then give her nothing. Don't overdo it. Don't check in. Let the silence expand. She will reach out just to taste that emotion again. That's when you know you've tapped into her core. That's when missing you becomes automatic, not optional. 4. Stay off her radar. Sometimes disappearing from her daily life is one of the most underrated moves a man can make. Most guys want to constantly remind a woman they exist. They pop up in her DMs, like her pictures, comment under her posts, watch every story. They want to be seen so badly that they become background noise, familiar, predictable. And in a woman's world, predictable is forgettable. If she knows exactly when you'll text, how you'll react, and where to find you online, she stops wondering. And when she stops wondering, she stops missing. You need to break that pattern. Not with anger, not with drama, just quiet absence. Don't watch her stories for a while. Don't like every post. Don't show up where she expects you. Don't let her know what you're doing or who you're doing it with. Let her feel that empty space where your attention used to be. That space will echo louder than any message you could send. When you stay off her radar, something interesting happens. She starts noticing your silence. She starts checking if you've seen her latest story. She wonders if you're seeing someone else. That curiosity is powerful, and it only works if you stop flooding her with your presence. Pull your energy back without announcement, without attitude. Just go cold, go quiet, go invisible. You see, the modern world is full of noise. Everyone is trying to be seen, trying to stay relevant. But the one who disappears becomes the mystery. And mystery is magnetic. It makes her think deeper. It makes her ask questions. It makes her replay old conversations just to remember how you used to make her feel. She'll remember the small things you said, the way you laughed, your smell, your tone, your rhythm. Because there's no new input, her brain starts digging into the past for clues. That's how emotional attachment grows, when the mind can't let go. But let me warn you, this only works if you are valuable to begin with. You can't vanish if you are never worth remembering. You must have given her something, an energy, a vibe, a connection that she notices when it's gone. That's the real key. Don't try to disappear to get her attention if you never had her interest. This is for men who already left a mark. So stop showing up so much. Be a ghost sometimes. Let her chase the silence. Let her feel what it's like when you're not watching. That quiet absence, that break in the pattern, that withdrawal of your eyes and energy, it creates distance. And in that distance, missing you begins. 5. Leave her with a question. If she always feels like she has you figured out, she'll never crave you. She'll never obsess over you. What keeps a woman thinking about you isn't always how much she knows. It's how much she doesn't. When you leave her with a question, when she walks away wondering about something you said, something you meant, or what your silence really means, you create a loop in her mind that doesn't close. And that loop, that's where missing you starts. You don't need to be confusing or cryptic. You just need to stop explaining yourself so much. You don't owe her a full breakdown of every thought in your head. You don't have to clarify every move you make. The moment you leave some parts of yourself unknown, she starts filling in the blanks with emotion. That's what pulls her deeper. Curiosity. Say something powerful, then pause. Drop a sentence that makes her reflect, then switch topics. End a conversation with a line that leaves her thinking instead of one that wraps everything up with a bow. That space you create between what she knows and what she wants to know, that's what triggers her emotional investment. And it's not just what you say, it's how you act. Maybe you don't post where you've been. Maybe you don't tell her everything about your past. Maybe you hint at something exciting in your life, but don't fully explain it. That mystery doesn't push her away, it pulls her in. She starts trying to decode you. She starts asking herself questions, and every time she does, you win. Because the man who lives in a woman's mind wins her emotions. Think about it. People don't chase what they fully understand. They chase what they almost understand, what they want to figure out. You become that riddle, that puzzle, that itch she can't scratch. While other men are busy oversharing, you're mastering silence. While they're answering every text with paragraphs, you're replying in ways that leave her thinking more than knowing. That's power. But don't mistake this for being vague to the point of disrespect. You're not ignoring her questions just to seem deep. You're being intentional. You're being selective with your truth. You're letting her in, but not all the way. You're showing her pieces, not the whole picture. And when she feels like there's more to discover, that's when she starts emotionally investing. That's when she starts checking her phone, hoping for that next clue, that next message, that next moment with you. If she walks away from you with answers, she might feel safe. But if she walks away with questions, she feels hooked. She'll replay your words. She'll wonder about your silence. She'll crave your presence just to fill the gap. That's how you make her miss you, by never letting her fully get you. 6. Control the pace. Most men lose their power because they move too fast. They give too much, too soon. They rush into texting every day, calling every night, planning the next date before the first one even ends. And in doing that, they kill the mystery. They kill the anticipation. They kill the space where a woman could actually start to miss them. You can't be missed if you never leave. You can't become desirable if you're always available. And you can't create a craving if you're constantly feeding her emotional hunger without control. This is where pacing comes in. Controlling the pace means you don't let her emotions rush you into full exposure. You decide when to lean in and when to pull back. You don't react to every message instantly. You don't give in to every invitation. You set the rhythm, you own the tempo. And most importantly, you stay in control of how she experiences you. Think of it like music. The power of a good song isn't just in the lyrics, it's in the timing, the beat, the pauses, the drops. When you apply this same principle to dating, you start to see that intensity is not always what she wants. Sometimes it's the build-up, the wait, the wondering, the when will I see him again feeling. That's what creates emotional gravity. If she's used to fast attention from guys, your control will feel unfamiliar, and that's exactly why it works. You become the man who doesn't play on her timeline. She can't predict when you'll text back. She can't expect you to call her every night. She doesn't know how to read you yet. And that unpredictability doesn't frustrate her, it stimulates her. She'll think about you more because she doesn't have you locked in. Don't confuse pacing with pulling away. You're not being distant to punish her or prove something. You're simply being intentional about how much of yourself you give at every stage. You're giving just enough to keep her engaged, but never enough for her to feel full. That keeps her coming back. That keeps you in demand. Let her miss the sound of your voice. Let her wait a day before hearing from you again. Let her sit with the silence. And when you do reach out, make it meaningful. Quality over quantity. Let every word you say land with weight. When you control the pace, you control the experience, and when you control the experience, you stay unforgettable. Fast connections burn out. Slow ones build depth. And if you want to live in her mind long after you're gone, you need to let her feel your absence. Not once, not dramatically, but consistently. That's how you keep her off balance. That's how you stay on her mind. 7. Don't check in. You want her to miss you? Stop checking in. Stop asking how her day was. Stop texting. Did you get home safe? Stop sending the good morning and good night messages like clockwork. When you constantly check in on a woman, you remove the element of uncertainty. And when there's no uncertainty, there's no space for her to wonder. No space to reflect. No space to miss you. Women aren't attracted to men who hover. They don't fantasize about the guy who always makes himself emotionally available at every turn. They become attached to the man who can detach when necessary, the man who can walk away from the conversation without fearing that she might forget him, the man who's not emotionally needy for connection. When you stop checking in, it sends a strong signal. You're focused. You've got things going on. You're not sitting by your phone waiting for a response. You're not validating her every move. And that forces her to feel the space. That space becomes noticeable. She wonders why you're not reaching out like before. She checks her phone more. She starts watching your online activity. She tries to figure out what's changed. That's where power builds. Not in the attention you give, but in the attention you withhold. Now listen, this doesn't mean you're cold or careless. This is strategy. You're not being rude or disrespectful. You're being intentional. When you check in constantly, you create emotional comfort. Comfort feels safe, but it doesn't spark longing. Longing comes from the unknown, from the absence, from that gap between her last memory of you and the next interaction. That's the tension you need to create if you want her to feel your presence even when you're gone. The truth is, women don't miss consistency, they miss impact. And you can't be impactful if you're always around. You become background noise. You blend into the routine. So instead of being the guy who's always checking in, be the guy who leaves her with something to check in with herself about. Make her ask herself why she hasn't heard from you. Make her scroll through your messages again. Make her second guess what you're thinking. This tactic works best when paired with presence. When you do interact with her, be solid, be attentive, be interesting. Make the conversation memorable. Make the moment deep. That way, when you disappear again, it feels like something is missing. Not just anyone, you. That's when you occupy her mental space. That's when she starts checking in with herself, wondering what you're up to, replaying your voice, your energy, your words. So stop asking if she ate. Stop being the emotional babysitter. If she wants your attention, let her earn it. Let her wonder where you are and what you're doing. Let her miss the part of you she used to have. 8. Make her feel replaced without saying a word. One of the strongest psychological moves you can make is not to argue, explain, or beg. It's to shift your focus so silently that she feels your absence without you ever announcing it. When you stop chasing, stop engaging, and start living in a way that doesn't include her, that's when her mind spirals. That's when she starts missing you in a way she can't hide. But here's the key. Don't do it with bitterness. Do it with silence, precision, and absolute focus on your life. A woman starts to miss you the moment she realizes your attention isn't on her anymore. You don't have to date someone new or post a bunch of stories showing off fake fun. That's try-hard energy. What works is the subtle shift. You're active. You're looking good. You're moving differently. You're not reacting to her stories, not liking her posts, not popping up randomly anymore. And most importantly, you're good without her. That quiet confidence disturbs her peace. She starts asking herself questions like, why hasn't he reached out? Who's occupying his time now? Why does he look happier? And all of that is happening while you've said nothing. No petty captions, no cryptic posts, just silence. That silence is loud when a woman has been used to your attention. You want her to feel replaced, but not by another woman, by your mission, by your self-respect, by your growth. Start investing more into your goals. Upgrade your style. Be more consistent with your routines. Show up like a man with purpose. That presence alone creates the emotional gap that says, I've moved on, even if you haven't. She'll feel it, and she'll start comparing herself to this new version of you she no longer has access to. And here's the twist. When she senses she's no longer the center of your attention, that's when she starts fighting for it. That's when the balance shifts. You stop being the chaser and become the prize. But that only happens when you stop trying to make her miss you with words and start doing it with actions. Silent moves, solid growth, strategic detachment. Now, you might be tempted to do things to make her jealous. Don't. That's childish. You're not trying to manipulate her, you're trying to reset the dynamic. You're letting her see what life looks like without your consistent presence. You're giving her space to experience your absence. That's more powerful than anything you could text. When a woman feels replaced emotionally, not by another woman, but by your purpose, she realizes how much of you she had, and she starts to miss it deeply. That's when she checks back in. That's when she comes closer. Not because you told her to, but because you stopped showing her she had your world on a leash. 9. Be a man of action, not words. Talk is cheap. If you want to make her miss you, stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it. Actions speak louder than words, and the more you demonstrate that you're a man who follows through on your intentions, the more you'll stand out. The problem most men face today is that they think expressing their feelings, their desires, or their plans will win a woman's heart. But here's the cold truth. It won't. Words are temporary, but actions leave a lasting impression. Every time you talk about what you plan to do and don't follow through, you lose value. You become predictable. You become someone who is all talk, and that never sparks interest. Women aren't interested in the guy who says he's going to take her to a fancy restaurant or tell her how amazing she is. They're attracted to the man who shows up, takes action, and does what he says he's going to do, without needing validation or applause for it. If you tell her that you're a hard worker, that you're driven, that you have big goals, but then she watches you waste your time and energy on things that don't serve you, she's going to see right through you. Actions don't lie. They show her who you are, what you stand for, and where your focus lies. And if your focus is on your own growth, your own mission, and your own life, without needing her to validate it, then that's a powerful signal. Let her see you in your element. Let her witness you chasing your goals, working hard, and being the best version of yourself. Make your life so compelling that she can't help but wonder where she fits into it. If she's used to men talking big but failing to back it up, you'll catch her off guard. She won't be used to you actually being a man of substance, someone who lives by his actions, not his words. This doesn't mean you need to be perfect or have everything figured out. In fact, it's even more attractive if you're on your grind and still making progress. She doesn't want a man who's complacent, who settles for mediocrity, or who simply talks about his dreams without working toward them. She wants the man who pushes boundaries, who is constantly evolving, and who isn't afraid of a challenge. If you can show her that your time, attention, and energy aren't wasted, and that you're building a life she can admire, even if she's not in it, she'll start to feel a sense of urgency. She'll want to be a part of your world. But the key is not to force it. Let her come to you. Let her come back when she realizes she's been missing something. To make her miss you, you need to become a man who doesn't rely on sweet words, constant validation, or emotional overexposure. You need to become a man who lives with purpose and doesn't need anyone to complete him. Your actions should speak so loudly that she can't help but take notice and miss you in the process. 10. Let her chase you. The final and perhaps most powerful tactic to make any woman miss you badly is to flip the script and let her chase you. For most men, the temptation is strong to pursue relentlessly, to always be the one making the effort, initiating contact, and planning the next move. But the truth is, when you put yourself in the position of the chaser, you put all the power in her hands. And when the power is in her hands, there's no mystery. There's no excitement. There's no longing. All of that is lost. But when you reverse that dynamic, you create a situation where she has to work for your attention, and that's when the attraction intensifies. It's simple. The more you make yourself the prize, the more she's going to crave your validation. Women are naturally drawn to men who are not desperate for their approval. When you're the one being chased, the dynamics of the relationship completely change. You shift from being a guy she's passively interested in to someone she actively wants. She starts wondering what you're doing, who you're with, why you're not texting her as much, and why she can't seem to get enough of you. And the more you allow her to initiate contact, the more invested she'll become in the chase. But don't confuse letting her chase you with playing games. It's not about being cold, distant, or manipulative. It's about creating emotional space so that she can miss you, so that she can feel the void of your absence. You want to get to a place where she's reaching out because she genuinely wants to talk to you, not because you've been flooding her with messages or constantly seeking her attention. And this means you have to resist the urge to make her your main focus. You need to have your own life, your own passions, and your own interests that keep you busy. Let your life be so full that she has to step up if she wants to be a part of it. When you let her chase you, you're telling her that you value your time and your energy. You're not going to waste it on someone who doesn't appreciate you. And as she starts to feel the absence, she'll begin to crave your presence even more. The power shift happens organically when you stop making her your priority and instead make yourself the one worth chasing. This is when she'll start seeing you as someone valuable, someone who is worth the effort. Now, this doesn't mean you need to ignore her, act aloof, or play mind games. It means that you need to be the type of man who is comfortable with his own space, who isn't afraid of being independent. When you're solid in yourself, she'll naturally start to pursue you more because you're the one she can't quite get a handle on. And when she does reach out, you can make her feel that you're just as busy, just as focused, and just as independent as ever. That sense of scarcity, the idea that she doesn't always have access to you, will drive her to want to invest more in the relationship. Letting her chase you isn't about being uninterested or detached. It's about creating an emotional investment where she feels like she has something to win and she's motivated to keep coming after it. That's how you make her miss you. In the end, making any woman miss you is about playing the long game. It's about being intentional with your time, your attention, and your energy. When you stop giving it all away freely, when you let her feel the void in your absence, when you make her chase and invest emotionally, that's when she'll start to crave you. Focus on yourself. Become a man of action. Be unpredictable. Control the pace. And never forget, the more you make her miss you, the more power you'll hold.